Can't hear you.
And welcome to Medical Mondays, y'all. This is your host with the most, THC, in his motherfucking bloodstream, BERG. It's Bird, motherfuckers. And of course, I got my right-hand man, my compadre, my co-host with me, Ed Rocho. And I don't know where he is. Also,
I'm right here. What up, though?
All right, but big shout out to our boy C Murder for making it today.
What's up, everyone?
So yeah, we're supposed to have some people coming in, but I haven't heard back from anybody. I mean, it is a holiday weekend. You know, first and foremost, I want to I don't really want to say give a shout out. How would you put it, Roach?
Salute.
I would like to acknowledge all of our fallen people who served for our country, and they gave it all up for us, man. So big shout out and salute. Hopefully everybody out there is having a great holiday weekend. Man, shout out to our boy Anson. He just took a flight to New Jersey, man. He's about to fucking be working out in New Jersey for some corporate company out there. I forget the name of it, but hopefully it's better than hopefully it's better than the corporate weed that we got here so far. So
I feel like it's when like the Union and Confederate soldiers knew each other before the war, and then then there was the war, and then after the war they still know each other, and it's like, I got love for you, nigga, but like you ain't shit.
yeah, I can't say that.
No, I feel it, man. You got to do what you got to do, but I just wish that everybody could, do their part to break free from the corporate and government oversight and still take care of their families. Unfortunately, I understand it's not like that. I ain't holding nobody up, man. We all got to do what we got to do. I just really wish. I just really wish, man.
Shout
Well,
out.
I think Backwoods is like a corporate company, and like
It is, Roach.
Fuck Backwoods, man.
Fisher Sweets.
Probably all owned by the same fucking company.
And probably the same company. It's all Philip Morris or something.
Yep, probably.
Yeah, no, man. And I guess that's part of the problem, man. It's all corporations out here. It's not about you and me anymore, man.
Medical Mondays is though, man.
You're right.
It's not about corporations at all.
No.
That's right, man. We are for the people. We're the people's champ.
You and me.
I wouldn't mind, if like corporations didn't have the fucking mentality that usually corporations have. You know what I mean? Like everything is under profit.
Yep.
Like profit is up here. You know what I mean? And
morale,
like everything else.
Gap.
Yeah. I mean, if anybody's seen that fucking, have you ever seen that Corporation documentary? It's called The Corporation. Well, it's long as fuck. And they go on to say how, how corporations are supposed to be a person. In the law's eyes, a corporation is seen as a person.
It has
Well,
all the
said,
rights and privileges of a citizen.
yeah. So if
Entity.
you take that citizen, that corporation, and sent it to a psychiatrist, that person would be put in a mental institution. You know what I mean? That's nah, man. Like, and I'm not saying all corporations are like that, but a big chunk of them are. A big chunk. Oh, that banana OG, I miss it.
I got some cherry OG KB from Michigan Ganja Queen. I saved it from last week.
Oh yeah.
Smoke it tonight. So I pulled off part of this last nug that I had.
Oh shit! Shout out to Dylan, Prop One, Anna, Triggerfinger, and 420 Diva all up in the chat right now. Happy Memorial Day weekend, y'all, or / Memorial Day itself. Sorry. First joint of the day, y'all.
Happy Memorial Days.
For sure. But yeah, I don't know. I never heard from Rick or anybody today.
No. I haven't heard from it at all either.
They're probably getting shit-faced right now.
Probably not. Probably just getting really ripped and watching us right now.
Oh shit, they might be.
You know, it is an off day, man. I can't lie. I'm not even rolled up. I'm fucking up. I'm fucking up. Oh shit, we got Chronic Illusions, Cottonmouth 420. Everybody's in the chat now, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's what's good,
And
man.
I want to give a big shout out to my nephew. Today's his actual birthday. He turned a big 1-3.
Whoa.
I mean, he's not watching right now. At least you better not be watching right now, you little motherfucker. Hey, I'm allowed to talk to him. I'm his godfather / uncle.
Well,
I got one of those.
He's like, I got one. C Murder's like, yeah, I got one of those. Anything like me?
Not really.
I was gonna say, we should hang
Gives me shit for smoking weed and.
Oh yeah, damn.
Yeah. So he's
Yeah.
cool.
What is the point of contention?
I mean, I don't know. He just hasn't really he's not as chill as I am, I guess. You know, I'm C Murder though.
Yeah, that's true, man. But does he think it's making you lazy? Does it think it's gonna make you a rapist? What of the plethora?
That's a big fucking jump, dog.
No. He thinks. I mean, he doesn't think it's bad or anything. He just smells bad. You know.
Sleepy, it couldn't make you a rapist. You
Yeah,
know.
it could make you lazy. It could make you a rapist.
Why do you always paint the picture that I'm like this, different kind of villain?
Because you're C Murder, motherfucker.
Yeah, you might be a villain, bro.
Just not that kind, Roach.
I know, man. I heard about you, C Murder.
See, even 420 Diva said, Berg, you would be a cool uncle /
No.
guy.
I wish I had an uncle like you, though, Berg.
I
don't have an uncle
uncle like me.
Have a podcast.
All right.
I hope to be that kind of uncle one day.
Oh shit. Chronic Illusions up in this bitch. Damn, Roach. That was escalated. Oh, that escalated quick as fuck. Yeah,
it does with me, man. I
Does
apologize.
it make you lazy or want to physically hold someone down and rape them? What kind of shit is that, Roach?
Come on, man. I didn't say hold somebody down.
You might, bro. What do
You
you
implied
think?
that.
What do you think a rapist is? Oh my God, Roach.
Well, you know, I'm just talking about the reefer
Man,
madness.
Detroit. Welcome to Detroit says he looks like the Jeffrey Dahmer type. Oh, welcome to Detroit. You just lost your last prize talking about my boy C Murder like that.
And you just got put on the short list for the refrigerator. He's like, oh, he knows.
Like, I ain't saving you. I'm cooking you right off the bat.
He must be eliminated. Don't worry, Berg. I'll give him his prize.
He's like, I'll give him you their prize.
Oh, man. Like, I put this funky bud on top, but it's probably going to be the last one I smoke.
Marijuana in Michigan's like a uncle, an uncle who smells like weed.
Uncles, yeah, I heard about that.
Skunkle. I seen a shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that shirt too.
I need to get that tatted. But yeah.
Skunkleberg.
Yeah, so did you read that fucking, before we go way out? I mean, we were just talking about corporations and shit.
I figured that's where we were going.
Yeah, well, we got, we went off a little track. But so did you read that article on High Times?
Yeah, I read it.
So what do you think about them going and buying up dozens of fucking dispensaries and basically like trying to shut down the little man? That's what it looks like. And then on top of it, they're trying to like be like Gucci of weed. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird how it's like set up in California, and unfortunately, I think that like a lot of places are trying to be like that Gucci of weed right now.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I don't know, marijuana shops, like, I know you guys don't go to them that much, but they kind of like definitely remind me of jewelry stores. Like,
oh, it's like a candy store, bro.
I mean, you guys say candy store, but it's a candy store and a flower shop, and it's got to be like
he likens it to a jewelry store.
But like in a way, they like make them into like a jewelry store, and I don't know. I just kind of
Well, I just remember. See, you don't even remember. Like, I don't even know if you had like penny candy stores when you were growing up. We had.
I mean, Greenfield Village has them, but.
Oh yeah. Oh, all right. But fucking yeah. I used to go to that shit.
Like, there's a bulk food still in Dearborn,
Yeah, but dog, you go in there and get 10 of this and 10 of that and 10 of that. No, they're charging you for a pound.
Oh.
Yeah,
exactly. Something like that kind of concept would be definitely a lot cooler type of dispensary in a way, where you go in and you're like, how I'm like it's that kind of you take your own tongs or something and you open up the, how they're like all clear, you open up, you pick out what you want. That'd be a lot cooler of a situation. But let's get back to that High Times thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, how like all of a sudden like High Times is publicly traded, and it becomes like this like chain. There's like, it was saying there's different dispensaries that were owned by previous holding company or something, like in Iowa, Washington, and California already. I think, and that but just like how they're trying to go into the downtown areas where like, these social equity things aren't really working out, or they're not being granted people. But somehow like High Times can come in and be like, oh yeah, we're gonna open up here. We're gonna be next to the coach or whatever the heck it is.
I mean, for real though, like I mean, especially in Michigan, you know what I mean? Like it's like, I mean, I'm getting off of California, but I want to talk about Michigan right now because it's like there's only a number of, like contracts or what do you call it? Like,
licenses.
Yeah, there's only a number of licenses, right? Like
Right.
there's only a limited number. So, in all actuality, a corporation can fucking you can add, you got Rick Thompson. What's up, man?
Oh, Mr. Taco Meat on Memorial Day. What's going on? I know. Hold up, man. What's up, guys?
I didn't realize.
Chest
I was not planning on coming out. All of a sudden, I get this message. Berg says, "Come on, join this broadcast." All right. Better. You're less offended now. All right.
Mr. Taco
I'm
Meat.
hot in here now.
All right. See, I'm glad you joined us at this particular time because we're talking about corporate cannabis, and I mean, yeah. But we're talking that we just recently read a article about High Times and how High Times went in California and bought up like a dozen dispensaries, and they're all trying to be the Gucci of weed type shit,
So there's a new development in that. Turns out, remember, you read there was 12 dispensaries High Times was going to buy, right?
Yeah.
Turns out only 5 of them are actually open right now. All the rest of them are just proposed dispensaries that were going to shell out these millions and millions of dollars for more than half of what they were going to pay for. Didn't even actually exist yet. And it turns out that there's a big article just out today titled Corporate Greed, describing that and the whole thing's falling apart. I remember High Times in 2017 switched ownership from Trans High Corporation over to the High Times thing. And then they really started to focus on cannabis cups, but they leveraged themselves by buying into other existing things. Like
that's
buying in.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Berg.
That's totally what I was going to say, because in Michigan, there's only a number of licenses. Well, I'm sure it's the same. Well, not the same, but there's only a limited amount of licensing per state. So corporations can come up and fucking straight up do, umbrella fucking things. You know what I mean? Like create a fucking business and then, create 4 businesses, apply for 4 different fucking, licenses and possibly get them all.
We call pushing paper when you take out an application for a business and then get that business approved and then just sell that business to someone else without ever actually opening it up. The problem here is that there was somebody who really had their heart set on that business and they wanted it bad. And now you snatched it from them just so that you could retranslate that to another multi-state operator for a slight profit. You stepped on all those other local people's dreams and aspirations.
So much, motherfuckers put so much. They don't understand. They're talking about little people. You know what I mean? I don't care if it's 4 or 5 guys that pulled in. It's it's those 4 or 5 guys that are actually they're putting their whole life into this shit. They're just coming up, pulling out their checkbook, fucking writing checks.
Hold on. Right? In the chat, we got Prop 1 saying, damn, High Times sure not what it used to be. And I beg to differ, man. The beauty of High Times is not High Times itself. It's the community, the people, the everyday people who show up to these events, who buy the magazines, who line the pockets of the High Times owners, but they were always on the take. It wasn't about cannabis. It was about cocaine. It was a
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
crime. You
Well,
know,
I'll tell you
It's
what, though, there was a time when High Times really was about the cannabis. When you look at the history of the magazine back when they risked everything just to tell people about dope, right? I mean, when they started its core, but then the cannabis cups really brought serious cashola to the
oh yeah,
situation, much more than just a magazine could. And I think that's when this whole moving away from the original plan that Roach is describing kind of happened. Um, Damn, what
like
was
like
once is now
really.
less.
I,
yeah,
I
I mean, you know
didn't.
what I'm saying, Rick? Like,
Yeah.
for people
Yep.
to put like all their hope into High Times, like High Times was never,
No,
well,
high
okay,
time.
they were
No,
for a point, but they didn't start out that way, and that's not where we're at now.
Yeah. In
I
2017, go ahead,
I
Berg.
no, like straight up. It's like, they showed their true colors when it came to the first recreational event. You know what I mean? There was all kinds of actual patients that went to every fucking cup, paid all kinds of money. You know what I mean? They have their card. Why isn't there a patient line? Why
Yeah.
are there why are there fucking people in wheelchairs and like old people like straight up
Yeah.
like sitting on the fucking lawn and shit in line
In
for
the
4
baking
hours
sun with
all
no support
and
and no
and
relief.
still not getting in
Yep. I know. I know.
it
Well,
was
here's,
sold out
It
3 times.
yeah.
How the fuck do you sell out three
Yeah.
times in one day?
Like
Word.
in 2017, when they switched over to the new ownership, they started getting rid of some of the old guard, the people that really cared about cannabis. Bobby Black got let go. Malcolm McKinnon, who was Dan Sky, eventually got let go. We even saw them recently. They're laid off Danny Danko. You can go through a whole list of guys that they used to have that they don't have anymore because they changed that philosophy, and it became do the minimum to get the maximum. And we all know that when you've got thousands and thousands of people at a festival, you got to plan for every contingency.
Oh yeah,
And come
you know,
on,
and
man.
I understand there are good people at fucking High Times. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
employees that love this plant and write articles and fucking,
Yep.
shout out to Dab Hannah, on IG, you know, he fucking, put us on the what was that shit?
So, yeah, they've invited us for several discussion panels with them,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's the element. That's the last little bit of the good element in High Times is those discussion panels.
it's
Not
like the
just because
people at the
we're on
bottom,
them, but
Mhm.
it's
the
the
people
like everybody else. It's like a free exchange of information where there really isn't. Like the majority of those festivals are not geared around information or education.
I can tell you in 2016, when they first started coming around Michigan, we had veterans panels, we had patient panels, we had all kinds of panels that were run at the High Times Cannabis Cup. They gave us a whole room to do it. In one year, they even put up a big tent, and we were able to use that out at Clio at the raceway.
We were there.
They really cared. But then the last couple of times they came, there was nothing. The other thing is there used to be a deal where they would give the opportunity to present an award to certain people in the state. Let it be local, right? So there was a connection between the people and the actual awards ceremonies themselves and the people winning the awards. They stopped that too. They had just their own guys doing it instead of inviting other people up, and that was something that they got and they did for free. It was a change in attitude. And I think Stormy Simon, who's a good person, was there in charge at High Times, but only for about 4 months. And now they got Adam Levine in there, and it's basically just going to be a real problem. What a sad story. This pillar of the industry kind of crashing and burning.
Yeah. Like plenty of good people there, and
Yep.
like I say, with High Times, with all the legalization that has gone across the nation, it's not the state governments that make that great. It's not the corporations that make it work. It's the people. It's us.
It's the
It's
attendees.
whoever's
It's the
listening.
folks who have booths, man. The guys who dress up in Bud costumes, right? The chicks who dress up like Harlequin and just walk around. That's our community, man. That's the only real opportunity for our freak people to come on out and show themselves, man. I love them. I love every one of those. I try and go to each one of those things we had. But the problem is with the evolving cannabis laws now, it's more difficult to do that kind of a venue than it was before. So I don't know. It's a sad situation. In this game, it seems like the people that I want to win the most sometimes get the shittiest luck. So it goes.
Hopefully that's better.
Nah, it seems like all the good. I mean, Dab Hannah's like he was the main one last time, but then there was a dude before him. You know what I mean? It seems like
Yeah.
it's almost
And like I called him. I want to say this was for the 18 Cup. We met him in 17 or 16. And then when it was time for the 18 Cup, I hit him up and he was like, man, I forget what he told me he was doing, but it was the furthest thing from cannabis. And he was just like, man, fuck those guys. They laid me off. They're changing, man. I hope it works out for you guys, but I bet you it won't. Like,
no.
Well, what I'm really worried about, have you all been getting these emails and these messages about trying to buy High Time stock? Have you been
Yeah.
seeing this?
Yeah, I've seen ads lately.
I've been getting emails. I signed up for it when I first saw it. They had a conference with.
Shit. I am subscribed to all that High Time shit when they came at us like, oh yeah, you know, we know you guys have had a free booth in the, you know, nonprofit section for 2 years, but you know, just throw us 1,400 and you know you can get a booth.
No, they started at 35.
Yeah,
and made their way down.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Look, the fact is, we've all been there before. There's actually empty space usually in that open area that they have for their quote unquote, you know, nonprofit zone.
I know,
dude. So why are you stressing about that? You got so many people occupying the infield. Why would you give a rat about 2-3 booths in an open area?
Yeah.
So stupid. But again, when money is your driver, logic sometimes fails. You know, customer service fails when all you're looking at is the cash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was a manager at Art Van Furniture for many, many years, and I've managed people. I've had millions of dollars of inventory, and I've coached hundreds of people on how to do sales and customer service. And you've got to listen to what the people are telling you. And the one thing I felt about High Times is that they didn't really listen to what we were saying. When they started to back off on some of the things, we said, hey, and they were like, I don't care. And when they took this away, we were like, hey, and they said, oh, I don't really care.
See, it seems like everybody who isn't High Times is just a custo to them. You know what I mean? They don't understand that fucking we're the ones creating this shit. I mean, not us personally, but all the fucking producers, all these people who actually, you know, get a booth, you know what I mean? And fucking, bro, it's insane. Like, you can really tell that people are actually getting it from Michigan about High Times because look at that fucking bazaar. I swear, like 90% of the people who are there, I don't know, maybe a little, you know, I might be exaggerating, but a
70%.
lot of people weren't even from Michigan.
Yeah.
They weren't even from Michigan.
Yep. C Murder will tell you that he got a lot of people at Bloom from other states coming in. Indiana, you know, places like that, driving all the way up to Ann Arbor.
Oh, bro.
Every day, man, people come, like hundreds of people.
Oh, yeah, bro. Roach, how many people did we ask
We had people from the Dakotas, from the Virginias, from
New
Wow.
Jersey,
Carolinas.
New Jersey.
Tennessee, Alabama, like
Whoa.
Yeah.
this whole little
Indiana.
area right here.
New
If they were
Jersey.
within 5 hours driving time, they came. Basically.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, the next wave of festivals in Michigan are going to are going to have to be licensed festivals that only allow MMFLA and MRTMA licensed people to sell. So it's going to be all those people that are no longer going to be allowed to take caregiver cannabis, who are going to have 100% corporatized cannabis. And then I'm interested to see that. I'm interested to see 40 different vendors with their very best strains, because
Hey,
when
you know,
the Michigan consumer has all of that ahead of them and they just remember what High Times was like, then they're really going to be able to judge whether that's equal to what they saw last time when it was a gray market, runners and cats going.
I agree. I agree with that, man. And I wanted, and I hate to say it, but it needs to happen. Like somebody needs to get in
we got
trouble. I'm not
Jamie.
going to say arrested, but somebody needs to get in trouble for smoking some non-corporate cannabis at one of these events. So that
Right.
we can,
I
like,
bet you there.
Rick, you could probably appreciate what I'm saying. Like, sometimes we can't fix something until the button is pushed. You know what I'm saying?
If there's a legal solution to getting this whole concept that you can't have caregiver cannabis on the grounds of these things, it has to have a case, and it means somebody's got to get in trouble and somebody's got to get a lawyer involved.
I
So
want to see somebody say, like, I'm a patient, I have a serious illness, and my caregiver is the only medicine I trust. I don't trust this corporate bullshit. I want to come to the event. I want to be part of the community. I want to be amongst my friends, but I refuse to consume that corporate bullshit.
I got to tell you, I have a hard time believing that our Attorney General, Dana Nessel, would ever punish someone with a medical card who uses their cannabis, even if it was at an event where typically you'd have to have all your cannabis would have to be corporate purchased. I can't imagine her doing it. Now, some local prosecutor, maybe, right? But, I've seen a lot of excellent cannabis coming out of commercial facilities. The Kaukushka product come from Tom and Krista Beller, just outstanding. It's got great color, great smell. I've seen some really great stuff. That's what I really want to have, one of these big events where I can see jar after jar after jar, like I've seen with caregiver cannabis. And I really want to see how it holds up. I'm curious. I'm not going to prejudge. I'm going to go in there thinking everything could be equal. Everything could be equal.
So, have you had any of the cookie weed or the gauge weed? I know you have.
I actually was at Cookies, Burners Cookies, the first day that it opened, and I've absolutely had Gauge. Jamie's nodding his head because I know he's had several strains of the Gauge. We tried some with Basor, and some of it was wow.
Yeah.
Some of it, of course, he gets the very best stuff, but some of it was, yeah, like contest worthy. I've had a lot of caregiver cannabis that was good, but some caregiver cannabis is contest worthy. Some of these strains were that way too.
See, I've never really personally had any of Gage's, cannabis or anything. I mean, I'm more of a flower guy, so I'm always looking for the best,
What are you talking about? We had some on our show one time.
No, I'm talking about, we've never had
cookies, remember? Michigan.
We had cookies. But it's supposed to be cookies, not Gauge, even though they're the same. But anyways,
yeah,
we had two different strains, and I didn't think they were anything special, and especially for the price, man. Like, I wouldn't have paid fucking $25 for an eighth of that shit.
The price was the problem from when these guys went to that opening, then came over to my place afterward, and we were able to check out 5 or 6 strains, some better than others. but the price was the thing that that stood out the most for me. The quality was good.
I mean, Jamie, we had a couple of them that we thought were really 2 thumbs up, but I'm not dropping 60 and 8er. I'm not.
Nah, 75, probably like $80 at least out the door. Like, that's crazy.
And then like, you know,
Then tax on top
the
of that.
producers or these quote unquote influencers, their response to somebody saying that would be like, "You're a broke boy, you're just mad, you know, you can't afford it, blah blah blah." And it's like, man, okay, like if you want to talk about like other stuff, cool, but this is like medicine. Like, shut the fuck up.
The important thing to tell those people is that the black market sets the price for cannabis in Michigan, because everybody that uses cannabis is a black market source and they have a dispensary source. And if the dispensary source is out of alignment with the black market price, we're going to the black market for that. So that's the price point that's set. Dispensaries want to try and push the customer base around by charging a high amount and then believing that people are just going to be somehow forced to use their services, whether they like the price or not. It's really not true. Having said all of that, we see lines around the fucking building to get into these dispensaries.
Oh, that's
I'm
what
telling
saying,
you,
man. Like,
wow, huge demand, even at those prices. Jamie's place up north, the Botanical Company in East Tawas, has very reasonable prices and an incredibly loyal customer base. So when we're talking about commercial cannabis and some of these provisioning centers, not everybody fits that description that we're sometimes describing. Corporate cannabis can be really good. Some of it's not good. Corporate responsibility can be really good. Some places not so much. So
our boy in the chat, he's asking what strains from Gage did you think were the best?
Yeah, what's noteworthy?
It was 3. Wait a second. When did they drop that, Jamie? Like 3-4 months ago? I can't recall.
I don't remember the actual strain name.
Nope.
Now you're talking about are you talking about Gage or Cookies?
Cookies,
right.
Yeah.
And here's my thing. If you can't remember the name, how memorable was it?
No, that's about me. That's about me not being able to remember shit. That doesn't have anything to do with the rest of it. I forget my kids' names sometimes.
Damn.
No, I don't really do that. I was just joking. But fact is, don't blame that on me. Jamie usually has a pretty good memory for that stuff, and he doesn't remember, so that's not bad.
Yeah, I don't remember. And they weren't like, this is the best shit I've ever had in my life, but I wouldn't call it bad.
Right.
It was pretty good. And
it's confusing too, because there's different strain names.
It was expensive. That was the biggest problem I had. It was perfectly good cannabis, but just
what I was going to ask. Was it worth the price? Was it worth the price?
Well, no, not really. No.
When I can get twice the cannabis, I guess for the same price,
because people lined out the door to get it.
That's fucking sick. And I said it before they even opened. I was yelling it. I was like, "Don't believe the hype," and then they dropped that shit, and it was just like overpriced. I guess they do have some fire. I don't know. Yeah. A lot of people are fucking saying it, but
I'm not gonna act like Cookies and Gage are the worst, and like how dare they? They're like a side effect of a way bigger problem, which is not whether it's Michigan, California, the world, globally. We don't have a standardized way of classifying cannabis. Right. For we have potency, but that's just THC is just one aspect of that particular plant.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? We have like test results, but like I'll admit myself, I don't know how to read a fucking test sheet. I know like if there's bad stuff and there's a big number next to it, it's bad. But I really don't know what the fuck that shit means. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So there's room for improvement and to learn a lot along the way.
I feel like we need some type of classification system where we can, say that it may be helpful to you for this and that, and classify it in that manner.
Or just tell everybody that you don't really know what the response is going to be to your system until you try it. You have a unique system. It's got a unique set of components. you don't really know what the effect is till you try it.
Yeah, no, like I mean, an effective caregiver would like run through some strains with you and see what works for you before they start like, saying, hey, come get a couple zips or whatever, however, quantity you're doing.
But that's a
like,
difference, Roach. Don't you think that's a difference between a person who plans his garden, who physically puts it in there, who studies the plants before he puts them in to make sure he knows what their characteristics are, so that when his people come to him, he can adequately describe them. That's that versus the Starbucks counter girl that you have at most of the rest of these places, where there's no connection with the actual growing plant at all.
The caregiver will get different stuff together for the patient and just, work through it depending on how sensitive the patient is to certain things and figure out what works with that person, then start supplying it.
Good caregivers will hunt shit down for you, even if they don't grow it themselves, because you're their patient, and they take almost like ownership of your illness. I've seen caregivers drive hundreds of miles they didn't need to drive because somebody couldn't make that drive and needed that cannabis.
For sure.
Yeah, man, that's the real ones right there. They need a holiday too.
I have a part of a store, but I also have a caregiver.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a great caregiver, and I have access to all these cannabis stores. I've got a Lighten Up provisioning centers right around here. I've got one of those, another corporate cannabis center right around here too. The difference between corporate. Yep. But the difference between corporate doesn't necessarily mean bad, but it's a cookie cutter, right? I mean, it's the same look, the same building, the same everything.
Well, Rick, corporation isn't bad.
No, the fact is, Kroger is a big corporation, but they do a pretty good job.
Don't take that one.
Love that shit, man.
10 years,
hey,
man.
Walmart's a big corporation. Nobody has any problem with that.
No, I like the mom and pop places, but mom and pop places are not even around anymore. If you want something, there's almost nowhere to go to get it anymore. So
you can go to Spartan, or there's like Spartan stores around here.
Yeah. It's like
they're like different, like mom and pops with like a chain kind of.
Remember the old,
so it's corporate, but it's like corporate light.
They just want to give it a mom and pop feel because we'll feel like to go to a store.
Franchise is different. Franchise is different.
Yeah, I dig it. But my thing is that you can go to a mom and pop restaurant, or you can go to a Chili's, right? Okay, do they even have Chili's anymore? TGI Fridays, let's use that. Yeah. So Chili's. So I'm a mom and pop restaurant kind of guy, right? I'm the botanical company kind of a place, as opposed to a larger corporate chain where I don't really have any connection to them. I think they're all about glamour and glitz. If you put more money into the sleek floors that you've got than you put into training your employees, I think that sends the wrong message.
Bruh. Like in fucking Arizona, my boy had to take like an 8-week class just to be able to take a test to be a fucking bud tender in Arizona.
Damn. That's a certification that means something, right? Now, I mean, that may be a pretty high standard to get a job where maybe you don't always need all that info, but damn, that's somebody I would trust to give me some advice.
I mean, I look at it two ways. Like, okay, yeah, that is pretty cool, and I wish that they had that here. But like, what are they teaching him? What did he learn in those?
That's what it depends on. They have.
Send that dude a fucking invite. I know he's up, man. You're talking about book, right?
That's right.
Yeah. I want to know what was the fucking itinerary for that course.
We got Half Bow Joe's about to join in.
No, but like, back to what you were saying a minute ago, like, you and Jamie, of course you guys got good caregivers. You're fucking Rick and Jamie, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know Berg knows where to get some good medicine. People are going to fucking take care of him if he needs something in particular. But like, what about...
Not everybody's hooked up, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
exactly.
And not all the time in my life have I had a good hookup either. I've been waiting 2 days on a guy who won't return my fucking page, because back then we didn't have cell phones, we had to use pagers. Yeah.
Me and Roach fucking went on missions, dog. literal missions through the hood, bro. Like,
I know.
Like a trek.
yeah, over here,
Like-
over
Like those
Like
people
an
driving up from
odyssey.
Indiana and from the Dakotas to try and get some cannabis, right? That's a trek. Wow. Dude. Yep.
Like all kinds of shit would happen.
Yep. There's
Hey,
a
Hefo
different
Joe.
head
Hey,
around.
Hefo Joe, you gotta.
You got to tap the screen and hit the microphone and the camera, one at a time, though.
I
think I got it.
What up, man? How you doing?
Whoa. Not too bad, man. It's been a pretty decent day.
Yeah. What'd you
Happy
do?
Memorial Day, everybody. Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
Some,
her. But
homegirl.
he's. So yeah, man. What'd you do for Memorial Day, bro?
So I got up early this morning and did a ruck march. I normally do it around Memorial Day. A couple years ago, we did a 22 miler in Chicago, and then a year or so ago, we did another 20 miler, and then this year there was a call online from, I think it was the Special Forces Foundation's, trying to get people to do 50 miles or just as much as they could, just to try and bring attention to it all. Brandon Lilly's a guy big in the powerlifting community, and he posted a thing on there. So it was a bunch of us that got together just through Instagram and stuff and did a bunch of miles for all that.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So I mean, everybody just keeps track of the miles they run, and
Yeah. One guy did the whole 50 in like 10 hours.
wow.
It's
Ten.
amazing.
Yeah, that'd take me days.
I used to think that, man, because I'm really short. So like long distance, I'm like, shit, that's a long way. I gotta walk like 3 steps. Everybody else is one. But we did a 25 miler before we deployed in like 8 hours, and I want to say like 20 minutes or something. Like, you just get going.
Looks like Jamie's getting ready to read some haunted stories or something.
No, 10 hours is not bad, man. That's a good pace. That's like
It's a 5 mile an hour
15
pace.
minute
straight.
mile.
What's the average mile an hour to like
I
just
think like the regular person's like 2 miles to 2.5 miles an hour. Army standard, like I want to say, is 3 miles an hour for a 12 miler. Most units get like 4 hours. The infantry standard was 3 hours for 12 miles.
wow.
Yeah, that's like 15 minute miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was doing that was the average 5 miles an hour.
Yeah, that
Exactly.
dude.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Like,
better than
that's-
a 15-minute mile.
Yeah.
Yeah, salute, man. Killing it.
Crazy.
Big ups.
Yeah, I thought I was bad. 15-minute mile.
Shit.
Still got it. Wait, I'm gonna have to step my game up, man.
I was hurting this morning after like 5 miles. I was like, oh shit, I'm not young anymore.
Man,
Tell him I'd be hurting after like a mile, dog. I'm fucked up in my back, man.
Actually, that's where I got the nickname, the cyborg nickname from. Was I blew my spine out over there, and
yeah.
I got a spinal cord stimulator implant in my. You ever use a TENS unit in like a physical therapy type thing?
yeah.
So I got one of those, except the box is in my back, and then the wires are plugged into my spinal cord.
Wow.
What?
And
Yeah.
what is it constantly firing on them, or just like
Yeah.
when you need it?
No, it does it as long as the thing's on and it's fully charged. Like it just runs all the time. So like instead of having, I mean, they didn't really do anything. It's like a really, really good Band-Aid. Like I don't feel the pain from any of it. So like I don't need narcotics or anything.
Mm.
So it's it's a really good option for younger people with a a spine injury like that. You don't have to look at a fusion right away. Give you some time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man, and you can hope for advancements in medicine.
Yeah, I'm on my second one. I had my first one done in 2012, and then I had one done 2018. And the one I had done in 2018, I was out, and I used RSO the entire time afterwards. I didn't take any narcotics after spine surgery, just using RSO and stuff. So like even just having access to cannabis now was huge.
No, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, no. I'm glad you're taking advantage of it.
Shit. I had a lovely 10-month stint with Oxy while I was in, so this is much better.
It from that, it was from you being over there, right?
Yeah, I got hurt, so when I got back, they gave me stuff to make it better, and then after surgery, I didn't need it anymore. But I'd been on it for so long, waiting for surgery, that at that point it was an issue.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, and I guarantee you they can make an anesthesia derived from cannabis.
Oh, bro, yeah.
I guarantee that would be awesome if you could elect to have a cannabis infused surgery. Like,
yeah,
I don't want opiate.
RSO, you won't remember shit.
Yeah, because it's really hard for people, if you get any kind of injury or get a surgery, they got you on the dope. Like, whether you want to before you even take a pill on your own, they've already pumped you up.
Yeah, man. Once they give you that IV, they put whatever they want in you, man.
They got you good and lit, and you got to break away from that. And we know as humans,
right?
Not everybody can do that.
No.
So
no,
yeah,
and then you get. That was one of the biggest issues I saw coming back. And I ended up in a wounded warrior unit or a warrior transition unit, whatever they called it. And just the rampant pill usage and massive amounts of pills that were available at all times. It's just wow, why are we doing all this? This is not healthy. This isn't good for anybody. And it never stopped either. So it's definitely it's the same in the military as it is anywhere else in the country.
Yeah, no, when you're hurt, you don't want to be hurt.
Right.
It's an easy solution. It's an easy solution to a complex problem, man.
Yes.
The thing with medication though is you got to get in front of the pain. Okay. Right. So initially, you're really taking the pill before you feel you need it, just because you're gonna need it.
Right.
But then at a certain point, and who's to say when that point happens? I guess it's a personal thing.
Right.
When, quote unquote, getting ahead of the pain is really just you getting high now. You're just addicted.
Right. When you're planning out your movie selection after your propofol shot to make sure your oxy is lined up with watching Fear and Loathing, it is no longer about taking care of pain and just having a good time.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm sure before the industrial age, cannabis was in everything. Medicinal. So many people say there was, so many snake oils and da 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 da, but some of that shit.
One of those had chloroform, morphine, THC indica, a little bit of something else. Holy shit, that put you down.
Bro, exactly. Cough syrup.
Yeah. No more cough. That's right, because you can't breathe. But hey, you're not coughing anymore. Yeah. It's just been crazy, man. The difference too. If you look at other countries too, in Canada now, you can smoke if you're within outside of 8 hours of a shift.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. So if you're not, if you're in an active unit and that you got the weekend off or whatever, you can smoke Friday, Saturday, and most of Sunday, and no one's gonna give a shit.
Well, that makes sense from a national perspective because they got a national legalization.
Yep. No, the same for their police force. Why not? Why are we not? There's so many There's just so many better options, and we just won't look at it. Israel gives soldiers cannabis.
Oh yeah, for
They're
sure.
thought to have PTSD. Like it's such a simple solution, but like our absolute psychotic, like just hatred of marijuana in this country, like is just ruining so many people that could benefit from it, but they're told their entire lives how bad it is. So like, especially from the military standpoint, like you get out and you go to the VA, like you can't talk about it. It's just that denied access when there's no need for it.
You know, when I worked at Bloom, like it was right near the U of M hospital, so we get a lot of people who would come in from like all around, and they would come to the VA, and then their second stop would be the dispensary, and then they'd go back to wherever.
Yep.
And I've learned like a lot of people talked about how it doesn't make you like dream at night, and it helps you like because a lot of the PTSD, you kind of like reenact your dream at night, and there's like this
it's a constant flashback and reliving it. It's not even necessarily like the Hollywood flashback, but it's like you're constantly still able to draw every detail.
Yeah, it could be like a lot of a similar situation or something, but it could be like something that you did like earlier in the day or something with like characters that from your everyday life. And what like REM sleep does is it's like trying to like calm your like anxieties and stuff, and like you go into it like it's like a body coping mechanism like for stress. And what cannabis does, it kind of like helps you deal with that like while you're awake, and it doesn't let you really go into that level of sleep.
Have you do you know about EMDR therapy?
Is that I don't, what is that?
There's a light bar that goes back and forth, and they can do it with audio, and I'm not smart enough anymore to remember exactly what it stands for, but it's the same exact concept. So like you watch a light bar as you're working through all the traumas, and it forces your brain to process it from a short-term memory, which is where most trauma sits at. So people are just sitting there constantly reliving it because it won't. Your brain's not supposed to process some of those things. So like it's really difficult for anybody. So then like that therapy especially focuses on getting it to push into like a long-term memory. And then finally it's been dealt with, and those things like it's just different. So like the combination I found so far, I mean, it took me 9 years to get to where I'm at now, but like the combination of that therapy and cannabis, like I would not be where I am right now, like at all, if it wasn't for both of them. Like it's crazy that those things aren't preached up front for people like fight so long and so hard to like want to be better.
So much of the funding for psychological research and things like that, especially regarding the military, comes from the federal government. And since the federal government doesn't want to spend any money on cannabis, they're doing that, spending no money.
Yep.
All right. Let me give you guys a little background on what he was talking about. This EMDR therapy. It's eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It's a psychotherapy treatment. It has an 84 to 90% chance of alleviating single trauma victims.
It does great for
post-traumatic stress disorder in only 3 90-minute sessions. Now, compared to opiates and all these other prescription drugs, side effects are an increase in memories. So like they're going to start remembering a lot more stuff. You're going to have heightened emotions and physical sensations during your sessions. You're going to be lightheaded. You're going to have vivid dreams, and you may have some new trauma surface, some more stuff that might be, further down may come up, which compared to like oily discharges and possible death.
Right. It's really not that bad.
It's not. And
the biggest problem is access.
Yeah.
The VA refuses to acknowledge it, so they won't pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you have outside civilian insurance, they can't. No one even gets to it.
Wow. And you said you've had this, or you want it?
I've been doing it for the last, I'd say like 6 or 7 months. So, and that was the exact same information I got. Was he said most like single trauma, like a car accident. He's like, we're talking a month or less, and we're talking 90 to 95% symptom relief. And as someone who'd been like in the therapy and counseling system for so long, I was like, yeah, okay, there's no fucking way you're going to be done with me in like a month. And he's like, you know, the compounded trauma, especially with soldiers, you know, you're looking at more like 6 months to a year. So, I mean, I'm about 6 months into the hard stuff now, and like all those side effects are definitely things you can absolutely expect to deal with. Like stuff comes up, you freak out. But then the difference is after you have that freak out, you can feel that you had that freak out instead of just freaking out and then going right back to the numb place. Like it actually starts to be like, oh shit, I felt that. That's fucked up. Like, how am I still like this? And then so it's worth the like extra trauma that comes up and the few months of nightmares and all that. Like it's worth it to come out the other side. I mean, I still have a few months left of just the intensive portion, but like I'd say I'm damn near close to almost 70% of my major stuff like actually being down to an almost manageable level, which is not something I realistically thought I'd ever have. Well, so I definitely promote that shit. Absolutely.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad you're committed and you're getting results, man. That's awesome.
Oh, I would have never talked about any of this before, like doing that therapy. There's no way I would have ever came on and like talked openly about like any of that. There's no way.
You don't want to give people false hope. You don't want to give people, you know, something that you don't know for sure is genuine, right?
Not even that, like even just the fear of being judged for talking about the mental health aspect of it.
Having the confidence to do it. Yeah.
Yes, I came from so I was an infantryman in. I was assigned to 1st Infantry Division, and I ended up in a reconnaissance, surveillance, and target acquisition company. That was just something you didn't talk about, and now, like afterwards, and actually processing everything, it does make sense. It really is a survival thing. Like you can't talk about it, you can't worry about it, and you can't deal with it. But then when you get back, that is something that like really does become a problem because you haven't had time to deal with anything.
Yeah.
So you've compounded 10 months, a year, whatever it is. And if it is a high strung deployment, like that's a long time to bottle. And then especially their jobs aren't going to stop. Like, so if, for myself, for instance, I got hurt and I had to leave early. So like I spent the last 9 years just being worried that like, oh my God, I bitched out. So
that's survivor's guilt in a way.
Yeah. The Band of Brothers thing is absolutely like, I've never made friends like that. And not that you can't make new friends like that, but it'll never be the same.
Yeah, no, the circumstances definitely like forge the friendship in a different way than just in regular life. And I know a lot of veterans say that, that they feel isolated or vulnerable with sharing because, it's like, how can you guys even understand, and we can't. And
that was my mentality
at least for myself. And I know other people in the community and even here on this show, even though we can't understand, man, we're willing to sit there and listen to a bunch of stuff. And you use whatever terms you need that we won't understand, man, but we'll listen to you.
See, and we hear that for so long, but
there is no judgment.
Right. And see, that's like that, just that fear of that judgment. You're like, fuck, I don't want to say anything. Someone will say something to me. I better not. But then you think, you're like, shit, I'm probably definitely not the only one sitting here thinking about all of it. So someone's got to do it.
Yeah, man.
So when I talk to veterans, a lot of them are worried about their own response if someone were to come up to them, not necessarily, how it would make them feel, but sometimes they're worried that they may not be restrained if someone gets them to that place. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And
yeah. I mean,
and because of that, they don't want to discuss certain things because they're just worried about the outcome.
Yes. Shit. My first like 2 years, I would like try to start talking about it and get so worked up that they'd be like, all right, he's got to leave now. You know, you want to tell people, but like you have no clue how to tell somebody whatever it is you saw or did or whatever it was. Like, how do you explain that to someone without being judged? Like, because it's not an even close to a shared experience. So like getting the portrayal of what it's really like is difficult because a lot of people, the only real access they have to that is like a war film. So like it's just a different aspect, I guess. So like an RPG, if an RPG gets shot in a movie, you get to watch it. It's super cool. I was super pissed off the first time somebody shot one at me and I did not get to see it because they don't go slow at all. So it's just those like little things that I don't know. I find them funny now that it's like that, but it's just as much as like a regular civilian doesn't understand it, we also have been closed off for so long. Like we're not openly talking about it anymore either. It's now almost like a taboo subject. Like, oh, don't bring that up with them. They get upset. I don't know. For me personally, I got more upset by people constantly they would not bring it up. It was almost like, why are you avoiding the topic? It's what I did. It's what I do. Why will no one talk about it? So it's almost like a shame aspect. Like if there's why does no one want to talk about it? So it's kind of just I think it's almost the same for everybody, just depending on how you look at it, really. Both sides are looking at the other, trying to figure out how to tell them what's going on.
Human beings have always had trouble reaching out, even to touch the people closest to them. It's a failure of our species. So, yep.
Definitely.
Yep.
I mean, I have seen some really cool stuff coming out of the veteran cannabis community though too, which has been inspiring. There's a company out in Arizona doing breeding specifically for veterans. Hellman Valley Grower Company. Those dudes have been super cool, and
they breed veterans there. They bring veterans in and they just get them whores, and
I hope so. But
breed them out.
They're breeding. Sorry, they're breeding specific strains that they're hand selecting to help with things that they've noticed.
That's cool, but not as fun. But yes,
right,
that's
no.
so cool. Yes.
I mean, Arizona, you're pretty close to Nevada. I'm sure we could arrange something.
He's gonna bring the taco meat.
Roach loves it. We had this conversation before Jamie came in. Roach loves the taco.
Yeah, after Medical Mondays, it's Taco Meat Tuesdays.
Yeah, Daddy's got to pay some bills. Come on. All right.
And when we can make it back into Cave Radio again.
Rick Thompson's OnlyFans.
Porn stash lives again, right, Jamie? Yes.
And we make it back into Cave again. You guys are always welcome. And right after the show, we go over to Michnos for Taco Tuesday.
Yes. And I usually keep my shirt buttoned up nicely at Michnos because it's, sanitary that way.
Yeah.
Oh, man, before anything else, I want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors: Treetop Labs, Honeybee Extractions, Native Made 313, Ghostbuster Farms, Western Tobacco, Michigan Ganja Queen, Valhalla Laboratories, Ypsilanti Oil Company, Michigan Turf Farms, and Label My Motherfucking Blood, y'all. Boom. So yeah.
All good
Roach,
stuff.
nice jar, Roach. What do you got there, man?
Michigan Ganja Queen, man. Nothing but the best. Stupid fire.
What is it?
Yeah.
What's in it?
Oh no, it's that cherry.
Oh yeah, cherry.
What kind of cherry?
The OGKB, the same thing you're smoking on, C Murder.
That OG KB. And I thought I had something else rolled up. Guess not.
It's a beaut. Oh, man down. Man down.
What the fuck?
So, man, I use cannabis to. Go ahead. I'm sorry, man.
That's
No, go
just
ahead.
drug abuse.
I use cannabis to get off of opiates and alcohol. Also, I did have a hernia surgery in between at one time, and I took the pain pills for like 2 days and then quit doing it, got back on cannabis. That was for a hernia, though. To hear that you bypassed all that shit for a spinal surgery is pretty intense.
Yeah, so I popped out my L2 through S1 with my L4 L5 being the most affected. It was pretty much ruptured down the middle for my L4 L5, and I pinched off my sciatic, and then both of the vertical nerves coming up, right at the spine or right at the sacral joint.
What was the solution for that? What they have to do surgically?
They didn't technically do anything surgically. It was just the implant. That's all I've ever had done to it. I don't have any screws yet. I haven't had anything. That's really been it. They put the one implant in, and then they did the next one 6 years later. And that's been it.
So you got 2 implants.
Only one, but they had to take it back out because the wires that were in my spine actually got pinched. When it stopped working, so they had to go back in and remove the battery and the wires and put a new set in.
Yeah, and I mean, you're free to say no, but can I ask, what injury did you sustain? What happened?
Yeah, absolutely.
Was it combat related?
No, so that's what sucked. We had gotten into a small little night firefight with the Afghan army because we didn't tell them where we were going, and they didn't know who we were, so that, they shot at us for funsies. And then we ended up just on the wrong path. We ended up on a goat hill or a goat path that cut back, and there was probably like 34 of us, and I was somewhere in the middle, and I stepped in like a sinkhole that was maybe a foot deep, 1.5 feet. Just the path gave way, and my feet were crossed, and then I went back to grab the side of the mountain because I did not feel like falling any further and walking anymore. We'd already been walking for 5 or 6 hours. I felt the pop when it hit, and I lay there for a minute, and then somebody came up and asked if I was good, and I said, yeah, just give me a minute, I'll get up. So I got up, walked to the spot where we slept at. We slept on top of the mountain. We walked back down the mountain the next morning. And then 2 days later, we walked back up the mountain and up and down the valley for like 56 hours. And then finally, when we got back from that one, I was like, hey, I can't really walk anymore.
56 hours?
Wow. Fuck that.
Yeah, we did quite a bit. I mean, the guys I were with, man, they're some of the hardest motherfuckers I've ever met in my life. Like, just crazy. We did some crazy shit. But, yeah, we got known for getting dropped off, and then they just let us walk around for a day or two and then come pick us back up.
Right, because you can't just sit. You'd be sitting ducks if you did.
Oh, I mean, they did other dumb shit to account for that, but. And there was some stuff that of the ground guys, we don't understand why they're doing it, and from up there they can't tell what to do because they're not close enough to the ground. So like, it really is like they say, man. War is fucking hell, and bad shit happens and good people die. But at the end of the day, most of us would still do it for each other. It'll always be worth it.
Yeah, man.
That's the thing. Like my injury to me, like, is nothing. Like, I don't even think I'm that injured. I mean, we had a guy lose a foot, and we had a couple buddies get killed, and civilians, and it just it really puts it all in perspective.
Yeah, no doubt.
And like I definitely get like the survivor's guilt. Like I spent the last 9 years just like Memorial Day was I would isolate, wouldn't talk to anybody, nothing. Just wanted to be alone, fuck everybody, they can't get it. You know, these names I remember their names. They don't know who they are. Well, of course they don't fucking know who they are. We don't talk about it. We don't tell people. Because it's, you know, the infantryman and the soldier, you're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to feel those things. But like, damn, man, those are, you know, you live that close to people, and those are the only people you see. You know, and when somebody gets killed over there, it's a big hit to the family, whether it's someone you knew for a day or met. Like, it's still, you think about it. You know, the guys you saw every day, that hurts.
Well, thank you for your service, especially on Memorial Day today.
Yeah, that's intense, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are you smoking on, man?
I got some GMO that my buddy grew from a cut I gave him, and I got some white cheese.
White cheese?
Yes, it is. So, like, you think cheese, right? But no, it's like a sweet berry. It's like, I can't remember the cross, but it was pretty good.
So I gotta ask you, man, what size shirt do you wear? Because like you definitely gotta send you a care pack, man.
Just a medium. Now, when I come up to the D, I'm gonna bring y'all care package too.
Damn.
That growing, man. That dude growing, like I tell every veteran friend I have, like, please start growing. Like, just, I don't care if you grow weed or whatever. If you can grow weed, you should definitely grow weed. But if you can't, grow something. Like, the difference it makes doing that is just insane. I thought it was all like, you know, hardcore, you know, infantry when I was in was all male still. So hardcore shit, like, that's pussy shit. We don't garden. Now I'm like, oh, please, for the love of God, stick me back in the garden. That shit's, it's money being in there with plants and watching them grow. And
Yeah,
Good
I'm sure
therapy.
it's good for the soul too.
yep.
Yep. Cannabis plants have a vibration about them. You just feel different. It's not the
Yep.
same as being in the forest. It's not the same as being in an orchard. Being in a cannabis garden, it's
Yep.
zen, man.
Yep. It's definitely
Yeah.
a different vibe.
Oh yeah. It truly is, man. Shout out to Mary Jane too.
Shit.
But even having a good vegetable garden and putting it together and watching it produce something over time is very
Oh,
therapeutic also.
I like taking all my excess soil out and making huge things of compost bins, and I got everything for my regular plants the rest of the year too.
Right.
Save it all and reuse it.
Yep. Create something with your own hands, watch it grow, take care of it, see something come complete. That'll renew your confidence in the world, you know?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Especially for people who are likely to have lost confidence that
Oh yeah.
nice things actually still happen.
I know I can't speak for everybody, but for me, like, the thought of being happy about something wasn't happy. It was, oh, I'm happy. I'm waiting for the floor to drop. And like with cannabis, you don't feel that way. And especially watching it grow, you know, the first couple of cycles, like, I sat there the whole time, like, oh, I'm going to get mold. Oh, I'm going to get pest. Oh, and then like you get a few really nice flowers that come out and you're like, oh shit, I can do this. And then you do it and then you keep doing it. And it just, you know, it makes a new pattern. It breaks that cycle. It's huge.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Exciting. Yes. Well,
So what's one of your favorite strains, man?
Ooh, green crack, hands down.
Didn't they have to change the name in California? Like
Kush.
in dispensaries or some shit. I heard that they had like some petition in
Yep.
California.
It's Green Kush with a C.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if you go by seed still, it's still green crack.
No, that's their thing. They'll still be like AKA green crack.
So in the old days at Third Coast, we used to change the names of all suspects that didn't sound like medical or official to some degree, or that
Cat piss, wet pussy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Pussy OG was
giraffe, giraffe poontang.
Yep, we had all those
Thunderfuck.
strains. Yep, at Big Big Daddy's, we'd have to, we celebrated them though. Actually, we.
And then after a while, we just said, "Fuck it." Everybody knows them by these names. That's that's just what it is. It was illegal. It moved into gray area into a legal area, but that's what it was called. So that's what it is.
Alaskan Thunderfuck.
Ethos
ATF.
just dropped a new one with that. They crossed it with something. I can't
Did you
remember
watch
what it
this,
was.
Baby Bird? Like,
What?
I swear I watched something that's talking about everything you're talking about right now.
No. What? What'd you watch?
It was this thing on. I saw it on IG. Like, I don't know. It was like some bullshit came in my feed, and it was like, like 45 seconds of a bigger piece. So I looked it up on IG, and it was called Strain Stories, and it was just like little origins and tidbits about, I don't know, maybe
I want to say
10, 12 different strains: Alaskan Thunderfuck, green crack. I don't remember what else.
Alaskan Thunderfuck is technically a rename because it originally was Manitousca Red.
Yeah, that's what they said that too. They talked about Gorilla Glue. It was a bunch of them, man. It was pretty interesting. It was I smoked a wood to it.
You can see how those guys that do strain hunting, those guys that really look for the original phenos and the landrace species, that could really be a fun thing to do,
It is my absolute dream to go back to
Ah.
Afghanistan to get seeds. Because it just grows there. Like, we drive around up the valleys and like it just be growing out the side of the mountain.
Yep.
Man, the good old days.
If
Well,
you
they
can
don't-
balance those two jars on top of each other, Roach, I'm going to be impressed, man.
You know what? When I moved it off camera, I totally did it, and then I was like, "Fuck!" And I got it back, and I'm trying to do it again, and it's not working.
Yeah.
I did do it though. I swear. I swear.
Trust you.
I had the pleasure of actually smoking some hash while I was there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was good. It was good.
Was it? Yeah. I don't know.
On.
But I seen a documentary the old way, how they
But
would
they
just take the live plant and just use their and pull off all the fucking trikes and shit.
Yeah. They don't smoke. They don't actually smoke bud over there. It's literally just hash.
Yeah.
they spike the hash with opium. Do they?
Not where we were. We heard about it more in the north, but I was in Coast Province, which was it's like right in the middle of the east. It's actually right across Pakistan's border from where their main Taliban and Haqqani hangout is. I can never remember what the Pakistani side of it was, but no, we had a bigger. They did. Oh god, what was it called? Neshwar, which was like dirt and tobacco supposedly, but apparently they'd put opium in that. But like it smelled and from what everyone said, tasted like shit. So I don't know. I didn't take any chances on that one.
Like the fucking birthplace of opium, it's the worst tasting stuff ever. I totally get that.
What do you
See? The opium's down in the south.
Yeah.
Rick,
So
what did you say you're gonna give Roach if you're gonna give him
What? That's fantastic, Roach. You got it, man. Mad respect.
Hey Roach, didn't he say he was gonna give you like a half ounce if he did actually?
I think we have to.
But I think it was a half bow or a half ounce something.
It's always a half bow.
Yeah, I think it was half bow. I don't know.
I share, man. It's cool.
Nice. Beautiful job.
I think this table might not be level.
I just rolled up some Skittles from Michigan Turp Farm. Super fire.
That Skittles is awesome. There's no question about it.
It is, man.
I like stuff with a strong taste. You know, I like stuff with a big nose to it, but I like something which you can really taste it when you fire that joint up.
Oh man, this berry melano, bro. This shit's fire. That's why
You were telling me about that last time.
Right. That's why the
Nice.
jar is fucking empty.
Fuck
says
Berg. It says
Yeah.
fuck Berg on it. Nice.
There's a small
we have a lemon essence that is super fucking terpy. We're talking about super terpy. It is it's lemon tree and lemon jack cross. It smells like it literally, if you like bump it or feed it, it smells like Christmas. There's so much pine and lemon. Literally, Christmas is the only like even close description I can give to like the sensation that comes from smelling it while it's growing.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, oh, it's so good.
Yep. And
Christmas. Melano, the one that I don't have. It's like crazy because when you first hit it, you get a lot of the berry, but on the exhale, you get that fucking melon and the OG, like that gas. I love it, bro.
I don't know, man.
If you're
The midnight, I don't even have any of that left because I smoked the fuck out of it.
Oh, that's exactly.
And the dirty spray, those are my two picks, man.
Yeah, I still see.
Fruit farms, man.
I still got a little bit.
The banana was really good.
Oh yeah,
the Skittles is just a home run, man. You know what I'm saying? This is like Babe Ruth at the plate, pointing to the outfield when you pull this shit out. But the Sprite and that midnight,
it's hella fat.
I'll tell you what, man, the Sprite Nightwood
Hella fat.
knocked me on my shit. I did a couple forced collabos with Turp Farms and Michigan Ganja Queen. Those put me on my ass too, man. The Sprite and cherry, fuck.
Sprite and cherry, the combo pack.
Cherry, a dirty cherry Sprite. Ridiculous.
Damn.
You know what? I challenge our sponsors, man. I would like to see them to crossbreed. Yeah, do a collabo, crossbreed the cherry with the fucking dirty Sprite or the midnight.
We're just gonna make them do it.
Cherry Sprite is a good drink. If you get a Sprite in a place and have them add a little cherry flavoring, that's some good shit. I bet that strain would be awesome.
Some grenadine. Yeah.
Call it Shirley Temple.
Nah, fuck that shit.
That's exactly what that is.
It is.
Rick described.
It's good shit, man. People drink it all the time.
I'll take a Shirley Temple.
Yep. I used to have,
my porn stash was like a Shirley Temple.
no, I poured them. I don't drink them. I pour them. I've tended bar several times. It's all the time.
Man, like, there is a way people can call in, but it's like you gotta put a fucking password and all that shit in.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They make that shit real.
I know.
What's up in the chat, Berg? We got people loving on us or what?
Let's see.
We got, oh shit, I haven't even been paying attention. I gotta run it back.
Prop 1 was talking about vivid dreams with some strains.
You
know, and I'm sure he knows like what his triggers are, like what strains
Yeah, I have
Got 'em off in a
certain
good way
strains
and
I
a bad
can't
way.
touch.
Certain strains you can't fuck with.
Nope. So I actually have a Jack Hare that I grow with a partner, and she loves it. Like, it is her absolute favorite. And a lot of the people that get it, they like it just as much. It's super lemon pledge smell. Like, it's beautiful colas. It put out a couple 20-inch colas 2 cycles ago. Like, it's beautiful plant, but its delta THC comes in at like 1 point, I think it's 1.2 or something like that. Like, it's super high. So like anyone that has like those severe anxieties, like, buckle up, because it's just a super potent sativa.
Can inspire tremors too if you get too much.
But like on the other hand, I've had other people use it and they're like, that is the most creative I've felt in so long. It's just that old school
Jack's
creative
Cleaner.
Jack. Yes.
Jack's Cleaner is based off that same strain, and that's the one the housewives love because it makes them clean the whole house. They get high and then they just go. Wah!
Yep. But when you have like severe anxiety and you add that on top, you're like, oh shit, this is bad. And so, I mean, my favorite, I mean, I'm just a weirder individual, but I can take those super high ones and then mix them with a super hard hitting indica. And I just like that weird middle area. But finding those extremes anymore is now difficult.
Bergs, what's got you laughing so much, man? You're just cracking up over there.
Oh, the Skittles was fantastic. Fantastical.
Giggles from the Skittles.
Skittles giggles. Like the Schlitz shits.
What?
Yeah,
What?
exactly like that. Yeah.
Except giggles.
Giggles.
They're describing what you're doing.
This you got the Skittles giggles. Been smoking Skittles, get a little giggly. Skittles giggles.
Yeah, Berg, you over there giggling?
Roll the tape back. I definitely saw some giggle action. I saw some covering of the mouth.
Damn.
Look at us right there again. Yes.
Damn, bro. That's some shit.
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Oh, man. Well, we know that, like, you use cannabis now, but what was your first encounter with cannabis? Was it before your enlistment?
Oh, yeah. I've had let's see.
What was that
like the second or third time I ever smoked, I was like 14. My mom caught me and my buddy and had us both arrested.
What?
What?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
And like you did time over that?
No. Like, so not knowing this, I found this out like years later. My mom knew the probation officer and my dad knew the cop. So like they just told me all this stuff, but it wasn't actually like realistically real, but like, oh yeah, I got in a shit ton of trouble. So like I didn't mess with it much after that. Like I was like, all right, well apparently you're in a fuckload of trouble, so I'm just gonna leave that one be now. A couple times, a few times in high school and shit, and then I joined and it was off limits there, so I didn't mess with it. And then the only time I did was in Afghanistan. Like I got I hit a smaller IED and just like started having really bad anxiety, and I had an individual give me some and was like, just go calm the fuck down. So like that was the only time I did it over there, but like I did it and I actually slept. Like it was really nice. Like
That's what's up, man.
you're so scared of getting, well, at least myself personally, like, you fail a drug test, like you just lost everything.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't worth it. And then even after I got out, like I was really like, no, I don't need it. It's not for me. I don't like it. My ex now was just, just do it. You'll feel better. It'll help. So then I started and I was like, holy shit. this is money. I need this, and this is what I need. So that's what I started with, and then we moved back to Michigan in 2016, and within 3 or 4 months, I got my card, and then I didn't start growing though till we started growing together in 2017, I think, 18
So-
maybe. I don't remember. So I had a
What
little
was
bit of
your-
experience before, but not much.
What was your, I guess, your most recent first experience like? Once you were discharged, and
It would have
your
been.
exit.
So we were in New Mexico. So
Uh,
I have no clue what we smoked. I still remember it though. She got me to smoke, and I probably took like 2 hits off a bowl or something. And it was
Okay.
right when FXX had started their Simpsons marathon of absolutely every episode. And I remember going in there and just like hysterically cry laughing with no sound because it was just the funniest shit I'd ever seen in my entire life. And that's kind of what hooked me, because like laughing like that wasn't real. And then that happened, and it was. So like for me, I was able to actually feel happiness. Like legitimately feel it, not just say, "Oh yeah, I'm happy." That's really cool. It was an actual feeling again.
that's a beautiful story, man.
Yeah.
Got a favorite Simpsons episode?
Oh. Yeah, that's a really hard question.
Is it the one where Trump dies?
I mean,
Throwing it out
that's
there.
definitely top 3. Ooh.
Dun, dun.
I think my favorite was the one they did. I think it was last season. The one they did. They based it on that movie. I can't remember what movie it was. It was the movie that took like 13 years to film. They did the one where they actually grew up the Simpsons all the way through.
Oh, in the future?
Yeah, they like actually did like Bart growing up and like what it would actually be like, and Lisa, and but it wasn't like one of those funnier episodes. It was more of like a real episode, I guess. That one's really good. But funny wise, any Treehouse of Horror, I mean, you can't beat that.
I was gonna say the very first year that they did the Halloween episodes, they were so wicked, man. Just so out there. It was really fresh. That was the greatest episode, man.
Those are all good.
They were. I don't know. I liked South Park more when it first came out.
I
have a favorite
couldn't
South
beat
Park
that
episode.
first episode.
I mean, for personal reasons. It's the one where Cartman becomes a immigration agent,
Oh, that one was good.
or border patrol agent.
Respect My Authority. Is that the one?
Back
Yeah, he
by-
does. Well,
Ah,
it's beyond that, but he's like standing on the border and he's going scanning for Mexicans. Like, I'm not Cartman, but it's hilarious. Cartman scanning
what
for Mexicans
episode
is my shit. It was my ringtone for a minute.
was it? Was it their episode about fucking Homer getting high and shit?
There's one when he gets prescribed medical marijuana, and he gets
Yeah.
like in like a prescription, like, and it's like a joint.
I
There's a
haven't
couple of
seen
them.
I think the South Park one where they had to, microwave their testicles to get one was probably superior.
That was hilarious. Yeah. Testicular can't. They went to the Kentucky Fried Chicken.
No, Integrity Farms too is funny, but I like the one with Cthulhu where Cartman makes friends with this giant evil demon Cthulhu, and he actually becomes this cat person that
He's a coon.
he's a coon. That's right. That's so
Whoa.
bad.
See murder. Chill. Don't
That's
have a
right.
Dab and Granny
See?
moment.
It's a memorable episode. I knew it.
It's the best.
Yes.
It's the best.
Don't pull a
It's like a
bro.
series of episodes. That one.
Don't pull a Dab and Granny on here, bro.
Yeah.
No, I like all cartoons though. I can't
Yep.
pick one.
I believe you're being warned about the use of the word coon, man, is what I'm thinking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dab and Granny, bro.
Don't be, yeah.
I don't know the story about Dab and Granny. Tell me.
Oh, that was bad. It was so bad.
Bro, we're not gonna talk about Dab and Granny on the show. This is a positive place for enlightenment, uplifting
I want to
conversation.
just say that earlier
How
in
is
the
this
show,
true?
you accused me of being a rapist.
Don't
No.
be yelling at me, bro.
So I don't know.
But if you guys want to know about Dab and Granny, we can talk about it after the show or in one of our lives later on this week,
Boom.
where the
Okay.
Dab and Granny clip is like gonna live forever.
I mean, I can change this story. I can change the topic with a funny story if you want.
All right, for sure.
Shoot.
I got a good one. So it was like month 3, maybe month 4. It started getting hot over there. So we decided we were going to all start tanning because there's nothing better to fucking do if you have a few minutes. So why not? So we went up on top of some storage containers back by one of the like back fence walls. And we were like, well, fuck, we'll just lay out right here. So we all got, I don't know if you guys know what Ranger panties are, but they're like super short runner shorts. So that's like all we had on, and we'd pull that shit up into a thong. Well, finally the Apache pilot started coming through and complaining that they were having to look at people's asses when they were flying past to go use our weapons range because we were all up there just sunbathing. So apparently they didn't like that. So the next time they yelled at us like over the intercom to get down from there, we actually all mooned them.
Hell no.
Yep.
Now, was there discipline for something like that? Is it insubordination?
I mean, technically, yeah, we could have, but like, I found most of the time, if it was a funnier thing, you didn't get in as much trouble, and if it was funny enough, people forgot about it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It was also, I mean, it was a little different then.
Yeah.
Hazing had like just become a real thing for everyone, so it was a little different. Our initiation was a little bit rougher than what they go through now. All in good fun.
Show. Damn, we did start late, but I was gonna say it's already that time.
Hey, I want to invite you guys on to our show again, man, to sit in and co-host with us whenever you feel like it, really.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm down.
Always cool.
Get in on the conversation. Tomorrow is going to be a lot of hemp talk.
Yeah,
Awesome.
man. Speaking of which, man, give yourself a plug there, Jamie. I'm sure you're the best man for it.
Well, Jazz Cabbage Cafe, Tuesdays 4 to 6, and then Planet Green Trees Thursdays 8 to 10. Planet Green Trees TV for Planet Green Trees and Jazz Cabbage Cafe. These are both Facebook live streams for right now. And who else is going to be on there? God damn it. Oh yeah, Mark and Tony Shanaquet, 2 people, 2 hemp farmers, Northern Michigan. I mean, they've been involved in the movement and the industry in different ways, but they hooked on to hemp.
Native roots, man.
Yeah, and they did a garden last year and successfully had a harvest, and even under the weird conditions. And this year they're ready to do something bigger. So we're gonna find out about what's going on with that. And attorney Tom Levine will be on also.
Of Cannabis Council, right?
Yep, Cannabis Council. He's also done a lot of work.
He was in Michigan Legalized. He was a board member.
Part of the team that's suing the lawsuit to try and remove cannabis from the schedule of controlled substances in the state of Michigan. Yep.
Shit, man. Roach, you want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors once again?
Man,
You guys mind if I give a couple names?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
This one's gonna be difficult. Sergeant McClendon, Specialist Cordero, Sergeant Bellagio, and Sergeant Amper. Those are all guys that I knew that were killed in action or committed suicide after we got back. So I want to thank you guys for giving me the chance to talk and give my piece to the lost.
Once again, man, we appreciate you coming on, sharing your stories.
It's brave to do what you did tonight, and I hope it's an inspiration to other vets that are in your situation to be able to open up to.
Are the lights too bright for you now, right?
I'm just about ready to duck out of the show. I'm ready to go into the dark, and I got to wear my in the dark glasses.
Rick's future's so bright, he's got to wear shades.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate everybody for joining us. And yeah, man. What up, Roach?
I'm ready, man. Big shout out to all the sponsors: Treetop Labs, Honeybee Extractions, Native Made 313, Ghostbuster Farms, Western Tobacco, Michigan Ganja Queen, Valhalla Labs, Ipsy Oil Supply, Michigan Turf Farms, and Label My Motherfucking Bud. Always coming in the clutch. These stickers are beautiful.
Yeah, they came out gangster. All right, Chuck. Well, everybody tune in. If you're on Facebook, go look up some Jazz Cabbage Cafe and what is it? Planet Green Trees.
Yep. Jazz Cabbage 4 to 6 tomorrow, Tuesday.
Sure, you go check out Jazz Cabbage Cafe. I don't know about that other guy.
Yeah, just start off at Jazz Cabbage Cafe.
Yeah, for sure.
Jamie will mention it.
No, bro, don't start beef with Jeff Goldblum, man. Just because he feels a certain way about Paul McCartney, man.
That's fucking hilarious. Did you just call him Jeff Goldblum? Oh man! Zing!
Start beef now, motherfucker.
I asked him when we were on the show. I asked him if anybody ever told him he looked like Jeff Goldblum. I told him he looked like the type of guy that could extract dinosaur DNA from amber.
Yeah, I remember. That's probably
and also save the world from alien invasion.
No, I noticed. You noticed about that?
Yeah, but he ruined that franchise too.
Turn into a fly and teleport too.
He knew something was gonna go wrong. Steve Murder was like, "Nah, I'll stay away that day.
I'm not gonna be a party to that."
He's had some memorable roles.
Bro,
Hasn't Jeff Goldblum?
He's cool. The way he was fucking with the judge.
About that show we were on, like the disappointed me, is this guy like goes on and on and on and on and on about who was it, Roach?
Paul McCartney.
Paul McCartney. It's like, what does this have to do with weed? I thought I was here to talk about weed. I don't know, man.
I thought he was cool,
Because
man.
the Beatles smoked weed.
I thought
Bob Dylan turned him onto it.
He just has a lot of Jeff Goldblum mannerisms, man. That doesn't mean anything bad.
Didn't even talk. It would have been cool to talk about Bob Dylan. I like Bob Dylan. I mean, not like I didn't like the other guy. Man, I'm so bad with names. Whatever.
I mean, I
Tune
told
in
him,
Facebook.
if he's gonna like Paul McCartney, he should like the people that inspired Paul McCartney because he was kind of a cultural appropriator. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
Tune in next week, y'all.
All right, y'all.